Hello and welcome to Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. I am Colred. I am still on holiday, so we have a wedding for some very close family friends today, and we are here in the lovely town of Merola in northern Italy. So I'm still on the road for a few more days, but I want to get this video out to you. We have an exciting event going on right now, which is the fusion for the new dwarf champion. I think his name is pronounced Newt. So I'm going to call him Newt. I don't know if that's the exact pronunciation, but that's what I'm going to go with for today. So Newt's a great champion. I hope most of you are at least attempting him. It may be tough to go for Fusion Champion if it's in the first 2, 3, maybe 4 months of a new account, but if you are beyond that point, then hopefully you've saved enough resources to go for Newt. Now, he's a really interesting champion. I think he's going to be very versatile and very helpful for free-to-play players and newer players. He's got a triple hitter on his A1 that has a chance of decreasing turn meter or placing a freeze. So if you have a target that is immune to turn meter reduction, but isn't immune to freeze, you can get the freeze instead of the turn meter reduction, which is kind of interesting, but a triple hitter is always good. The AoE with 100% chance to decrease attack and weaken, plus place a counter attack on Newt. This is a very strong skill and it's going to be useful in a lot of places. You could potentially use this in arena. I don't think he's really an arena champion, but this one skill could be used in arena. So if you don't have a good debuffer who drops defense and you want to go with the weaken instead, or if you're trying to build a go second team or like a survivable team, that decrease attack can help there. The A3 is also the triple hitter, which is really great. This hits based on enemy max HP, so this is going to be very good against bosses, especially like clan boss or hydra boss. So you have that damage coming out, but you also have decreasing the target's defense, and this stacks up to 30%. This is incredibly powerful because that means you're increasing the damage of all of the allies of Newt. So if you're using him in clan boss, you're lowering the clan boss's defense by 30%, and that's for everybody. So he's going to increase your damage even if he's not hitting hard himself. He probably will hit decently hard against clan boss because of that enemy max HP. My point is, you don't need him to necessarily deal a ton of damage. Your damage dealers are going to do a lot more damage because they're going to be going up against 30% less defense. He's also got sustain built into this. I don't know how that's going to play out over time. I don't think it's enough sustain for him to be a solo champion. You could build him in regeneration gear and immortal gear and experiment with him that way. We'll see what happens when people start collecting him and using him. And, maybe he could be used as a solo champion. He also has a nice little passive. It's not a overpowered passive. It is, in fact, a small passive. But normally when you're counterattacking, champions get a damage reduction. Here, they don't get a damage reduction, or Newt doesn't get a damage reduction. He's just going to hit for his full damage, so that's nice. His aura is accuracy in dungeons by 80%. That is a potentially useful aura. So he has no dead spots in his kit. Every single skill has the potential to be useful in a different scenario. Some of them are going to synergize well with themselves, like with other skills that he has, but you're always going to be able to find a spot for Newt on a team. So you can use him in Clan Boss, Doom Tower, Dragon, Spider. You're going to be using him in a lot of places. Okay, so that's my quick review of Newt. I am only going for him on my main account. I am not playing my second and third accounts while I am on vacation. So, there's just no way. There's just no way to do 3 fusions simultaneously while I'm on vacation. In fact, I am playing this account probably maybe a third as much as normal, maybe a quarter as much as normal. So I've been very close to actually already missing out on Newt. But I do want to talk about why doing a classic champion fusion is better and easier than doing a fragment champion, a fragment fusion. So if you go into the portal, you can look here. He's actually under the fusion map. And you'll notice here you're collecting champions. We need to collect 12 copies of this guy here. I forget what his name is. Knot, I think, like Knott. And then the ambassador here is what he fuses into. So Ambassador Lethalin. And And then we're going to need 4 of the void rares. Oh, this is Tree Shield Gnut. Okay, so who is this? Sorry about that. Who is this guy? Well, anyway, so we need 12 of the 1 champion, we need 4 of the void champion, and then we need to get those into the epics. Remember to get them up to 5-star ascended. You do have to get them up to level 50, and then you can fuse into Newt. If you don't have the resources to go all the way, you may want to consider going for 1 or 2 of the epics, or maybe even holding on to some of the rares. Free champions are always a good thing, so consider at least going partially into this fusion if you can't do the whole thing. But I was going to tell you why it's easier to do this than a fragment collector, and basically it's because of the event that's going on right now, which is nice and early in the event. We have a summon rush. So we have to get points in order to collect our Tree Shield Gnut here. Now, you could actually continue to pull shards and go for the Ambassador Lethalin. Most of you, if you're free-to-play players, will not have the resources to do that, and it's very expensive to do that. If you can do that, if you're a low spender, maybe you bought a couple of packs of shards, the nice thing about that is that Ambassador is worth 4 of the rare champions. So that gives you a lot of flexibility. But the other thing that happens is while you're pulling shards for this event, you may actually get some of these champions. You may, depending on which shards you're pulling, you may pull a rare that is a fusion rare. You may pull one of the epics that is a fusion epic. And every time you do that, that gives you an opportunity to skip a particular event. And now you're just going ahead and doing, fewer events. You need fewer resources to do those events, and that's going to, accelerate you towards that fusion. It's also potentially going to give you choices about like which events you want to skip. So you can skip the ones that are maybe more expensive for you, or that require the resources you don't have, or the time you don't have. So for instance, right now there is a dragon tournament going on. Maybe you haven't collected enough energy. You want to skip a dragon tournament because you don't want to invest all that energy because there's a spider tournament coming up in 2 days. So it could be that kind of thing. Or maybe you don't have the silver, so you want to avoid a artifact enhancement event, and you're going to get to pick based on the resources that you have. Okay, so that's it. I just wanted to kind of break that down a little bit for people who may be new to fusions. This may be your first fusion. It's definitely a worthwhile fusion, I think, especially for newer accounts. I don't know that this guy is going to be as impactful as Artak was as the free champion, but he's not far behind. I would say these two in conjunction could be a very powerful duo for a number of different dungeons, bosses, so on and so forth. So I hope you're doing well with the fusion. I'm going to take myself off screen. We're going to get into some shard pulls. I will let's go back to the summon rush real quickly. I will only be pulling for this first tree shield. I'm not going to be going all the way to the ambassador. So I need 2,150 points, which if you look down here, 500 points per sacred shard, which means 4 sacred shards. And then I'm probably going to pull some ancient shards on the end here. I highly recommend you do not use void shards for a fusion event. Hold those for a 2x event or a guaranteed champion. Don't waste them here, because the void shard is the only way you can get most of the void legendaries in the game. That's at a 0.5% chance. So getting that 2x event just doubles your chances. It's still a very small chance, but it's the best chance you're ever going to have to pull champions like Krisk or Yumiko or, Acrizia, these amazing top-tier game-changing champions. So hold on to your void shards. Don't use them here unless you absolutely have to. I would even use like 150 mystery shards before I pulled a single void shard. So that is something to consider. All right, so I'm going to be pulling 4 sacred shards, and then I'm going to be pulling, it looks like 8 ancient shards. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll just pull 7 ancient shards because I think I'm still pulling some mystery shards. So why don't we go ahead and pull the ancient shards first. And like I said, I'm going to take myself off screen here, and we'll get to it. All right. So let's go ahead and do the ancient shards. I'm just going to pull them one at a time. And we'll start here. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll actually hit something with the shards. By the way, the internet that I'm on right now is very weak. So it might take a little while to make these shard pulls happen. You're going to see that spinning wheel a little bit. Spikehead does nothing for us. Let's go ahead and see. I'd like at least an epic here. That would be nice. Maybe a new epic, or maybe a copy of an epic that is worth building twice. Or maybe even just a duplicate that I can throw into the faction crypt. Most of my faction crypts are full. I think the only ones that are not completely full are Shadowkin and Sylvan Watchers. Soulbound Bowyer is definitely a good rare and worth investing in. Her A1 is an AoE, and so you can build her in a stun set, and that becomes really nice. Or you can build her with a lot of damage. She also has a massive turn meter reduction skill. I think it's her A3, which reduces turn meter by 75%, I want to say. So if you are early in the game and you're looking for help wave clearing or wave controlling, Soulbound Bowyer is a decent option. Okay, so nothing out of those. I didn't pull any of the fusion rares, I don't think. And I didn't pull any of the fusion epics. Now we're going to go pull 4 sacred shards. A fusion epic would be a big win, but also, we've got a chance here for some legendaries. I could really use a Duchess. A Duchess would be a massive win. Actually, a Geomancer would be a great win too. All right, Royal Guard, very good epic. I actually have 2 built, so I do not need another one. But if you pull a Royal Guard and you haven't built one yet, he has this skill here, which does damage based on enemy max HP, which can be very good against Hydra Boss because it's an AoE, so it'll hit all of the heads. So he's definitely worth building as a main damage dealer for Hydra Boss. I should say Hydra Clan Boss, but Clan Boss always seems to me to be the Demon Lord. All right, another epic. Decent epic, Dura the Hungerer. Worth building out for your Demon Spawn Faction Wars if you need a Reviver. He revives 2 random allies with 50%. So like I said, good for Faction Wars, not really too usable in other places. I mean, you can use him in Clan Boss, but I would say there are much better options there. All right, let's pull. I think this is our 3rd. Internet is being a little bit wimpy. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. There we go. All right, let's see gold. How about some gold? Nope. Lodric Falconheart, not a particularly exciting epic there. So far, just fodder. Nothing too interesting. At least not for this account. Some of my other accounts would be very good there. Okay, and Vergis, who is another good champion. I actually just put some effort into my Vergis. I do have one already building out. He is at 5-star Ascended and is on his way to 6-star. This guy is a good soloer. You can use him in several places, but one of the things that he does is he has this passive where he places a shield equal to 10% of his HP whenever the champion loses 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit. So he can continuously put a shield up. Basically, every time he gets hit, he's just going to put a shield up. This will be on a 1-turn cooldown when you book it out, so that means every turn. So you can use him as a soloer against Scarab Boss. That's where a lot of people will use him, but you can also use him as a soloer against some of the other bosses as well. I do think there are better soloers out there. He is like the OG solo champion. He used to be the champion that could solo where other champions could not. But I think he's still good, but probably not as good as he used to be in comparison to newer champions. Okay, so that's it. Not a super exciting Shard event for me, but that's okay because the point isn't to get the champions. You have to think of these Shard pull events for Fusion champions as just an investment. So some people may ask, why do I want to spend these Shards for the Fusion when I could save them up for another event like a 2x event or a guaranteed champion? And the answer is pretty simple. This is, in fact, a guaranteed champion. That's what a Fusion event is. You know exactly the resources it's going to take, and you know exactly the champion you're going to get back. So if I were to say to most players, you give me 4 Sacred Shards and 6 Ancient Shards, and I'm going to guarantee you an A tier or better legendary champion, most players would take that trade. Now, I'm aware that there's a lot more involved than just these 10 shards or so that you're pulling on this day. There's also another, there's going to be a champion chase probably at some point. There's obviously all of the energy that you have to put into the champion trainings and the different tournaments. So it's more than just these shards. But my point is, these shards are very valuable here in this event. And so if you have them and you can use this champion, then it tends to be the best way to spend shards. Plus, you might get lucky, and those shards, when you pull them, still might yield other champions. So remember, you're not giving them away for free. You're getting the value towards the Fusion champion, plus you're getting whatever champions you happen to pull. And a lot of you will actually pull legendary champions or good epic champions from those shards as well. I didn't happen to do that today. That's the way it goes sometimes. But I still feel like it's a good investment for moving in the right direction to get the Fusion champion Newt. Okay, so I hope you were a little bit more lucky than I was with your shard pulls today. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you got any excellent champions. Maybe you got a champion who's even better than the Fusion champion. Or maybe you were one of those lucky people who got some of the Fusion rares and epics, and that's going to make life easier for you on this Fusion. So definitely put those in the comments below as well. Thanks for watching. It was fun today. I have to go get ready for a wedding, so you can tell I still have to shave today and get all dressed up, and we're going to go have some fun and party and celebrate with our friends. I will be back home in 3 days' time, and we'll get back to our normal kind of video progression. We'll get some more of those raid fundamentals out there for you. Yeah, so thanks for hanging out. I will see you in another video soon.